The elections have put the spotlight on American media. Normally, this is a good thing. Elections bring more viewership. Viewership brings more money, and everybody goes home happy. But maybe not this time, because Americans do not trust their media anymore. Look at the findings of a new Gallup poll. Only 31% Americans trust their media outlets. We're talking about mass media here, your television, newspapers, radio, all of it combined together. Only 31% Americans trust this media, and this number has been falling consistently. In 1972, 68% Americans trusted the media. By 1976, it actually increased to 72%. But then, since then, it's been a steep fall. What's more, Americans trust government institutions more than the media, which is quite unusual for the US because this is a country where people think their government faked the moon landing. Yet 55% people trust their local government and 43% trust the federal government. So trust issues are not the problem, the institution is. Let's look at other places. Like in India, 41% people trust the media. The trust is higher for state-owned news agencies, interestingly. For example, 65% Indians trust the All India Radio. Even regional newspapers are quite trusted by 61% Indians, according to one survey. And what about commercial platforms? They're a lot lower than public ones, not as low as in the United States. Then you have Britain, where media trust has rebounded after major lows. It was 51% in 2015. It plunged to 28% during the Wuhan virus pandemic. But since then, it has slowly recovered to 33% last year and 36% this year. In Europe, the trend is similar to India. Nearly 48% people trust state broadcasters. Only 29% trust private TV stations. We also have numbers from China and Russia, where a whopping 100% trust the media. I am kidding, of course. It's likely to be in the high 99% to make it believable. But jokes aside, what is the message here? Why is media trust below 50% in major markets? Obviously, fake news is a problem. Fact-checking is not as rigorous as it used to be. Another problem is bias, and it's quite evident in the US. Most conservatives talk about the media's liberal bias. Donald Trump weaponized it in 2016. He's doing it again this time. A third issue is the rise of social media. People don't use traditional outlets as much anymore. So why would they trust something they don't even use? Just consider India. Nearly half of all Indians get their news online from YouTube or WhatsApp or X. Nearly half. These platforms are doing two things. Some of them are not prioritizing news at all. They're focusing on other topics like travel or cooking. Those who still prioritize news do not push publishers. They're pushing content creators, people who can make funky, addictive content. One example of that is X. Elon Musk is a vocal critic of mainstream media, so he wants the so-called citizen journalists to take over. He's also paying them for their content. The question is, what can be done about this? How can we restore the trust? We say it all boils down to one thing, and that is money. Most people do not pay for news. They'll pay for music or streaming content, but they will not pay for news. Only 17% people in rich countries pay for news, 17%. In India, it is just 5%. Plus, advertising money is moving away. Nowadays, brands like to advertise on social media. As a result, traditional media houses are struggling. Nearly 3,000 American newspapers have shut down since 2005. Layoffs are quite common. In India, there was a 15% rise in firings this year. So what do media firms do? What do media platforms do? They look for funding elsewhere. Enter big corporates and entities with vested interests. They come with their own political calculations. Some see the media only as a business, not as a civic institution. Others see it as a tool to wield influence or push their agenda, and often it is the content that suffers. Do you think legacy outlets cannot make addictive content or do in-depth ground reports or weave together trending stories? Of course they can. But you need money, you need independence to do it. It's easy to dismiss the media as fake or biased. It's harder to walk the talk and pay for the news.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes. and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.